PWF Empire is live. Thank you for tuning in this Sunday, this very busy Sunday. A lot of stuff, not going on right now. A lot of stuff did happen tonight. We had the NBA Championship game. We had Game of Thrones Episode 9. And also, we had what brings us here tonight for each and every one of you, WWE Money in the Bank 2016. This belt right here, this WWE World Heavyweight Championship, had a lot of mileage on it tonight. It was moving from place to place, and where it rests right now is on Dean Ambrose, who is our WWE World Heavyweight Champion. This night in history actually marks a time where each member of the Shield held the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But as I said, when everything was said and done and the dust was settled, the person standing tall with the gold was the lunatic French Dean Ambrose. We'll be talking about that tonight and everything that occurred at Money in the Bank. Who are we? I'm Jay, and I'm joined on the hosting panel tonight by Steven. Man, what a night.
What a night. I'm really happy. I don't know what to say. I don't know if this is my logic brain talking or just the mark in me, but I'm really excited.
Definitely not your logic one talking.
Whoa, you didn't like it? You didn't mark out?
We will get there, okay?
What do you mean we will get there? We got to start with that, man. I can't wait to talk about that.
Okay, you want to start with that? The WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, I guess, calling in audible here.
I think we should.
Wait, how are we going to even do this? Like, Dean Ambrose, technically, if we're just talking about this first, the Money in the Bank. Like,
okay.
Did we just...
We'll go backwards in time.
Let's talk about it, okay?
We'll go backwards in time.
We're jumping all over the
Just like how the main event was going to determine who was the architect of the Shield, according to Booker T on the pre-show.
You should know by now not to take Booker T seriously with anything that he says. But, yeah, let's talk about this main event. It was Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. That was the match that was scheduled. It actually finally happened. They made it to the ring safely, and they got in the ring, and they kind of tore each other apart. We had, at the end of that match, to my shock and surprise, Seth Rollins won. I didn't even know how to react. I didn't even know how to react to that. I just sat there and went like, whoa.
Neither did I. In fact, the entire match I sort of felt like, interesting. Like, I didn't know what to make of anything, but not in a bad way. I felt like I was intrigued by all of it, and that's a good feeling compared to, like, usually, like, this doesn't make any sense kind of feeling that I get. Especially because Rollins was wrestling as the babyface, seemingly, or... I don't know if that's true per se, but Roman was definitely wrestling as a heel. I think that was pretty obvious.
He was taunting the crowd, responding to them saying that he sucked, and just very aggressive on Seth Rollins, which I actually really enjoyed. And I don't understand why people say, oh, Roman needs to turn heel. That ruins what we have now. He can ride that line, and, I mean, you cheer him if you want to, boo him if you want to. There doesn't need to be
He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy.
There you go.
Well, he's not the guy anymore, so sorry about that, Roman. But I wonder what he's going to say now.
But, yeah, this match for me, it was... I wish I could have seen a little bit more back and forth, because I felt like there was this huge block of the match where Roman Reigns was whooping Seth Rollins' ass, and then there was another block in the match where Seth Rollins was fighting his way back into it. I just wish that they would have mixed it up a little bit more, but I do have to say, though, I did like what I was seeing from Roman Reigns, that, that Razor's Edge into the powerbomb. I believe he used that on AJ
cool,
Styles.
Man. Yeah.
I love that.
I think that should be a new finisher. I don't know if I wanted to replace the spear, because I think his spear is pretty cool, but that's definitely an awesome move that he does. I liked a lot of what I was seeing from Roman, and like every wrestles on pay-per-view, I like it more and more. And it just perplexes me why people don't like him.
There was this point in the match, I wrote down a few spots that I really enjoyed. The pedigree counter, where Roman Reigns flipped Seth Rollins over his back, and then he kind of like, I think he repelled off the ropes and then hit him with a Superman punch. That was a very nice sequence in the match. The Falcon Arrow from Seth Rollins, it was a superplex from the top rope and then into the Falcon Arrow. That was great stuff. And one point that because you guys know my saying, criticize when necessary, but give credit where credit is due. Seth Rollins, that point in the match where Seth Rollins goes over towards like the timekeeper's area and nobody had any idea what the fuck he was doing, and then Roman Reigns charges towards him for a spear, but Seth Rollins jumps out of the way. That was awesome, because that was something that was actually worthy of deeming Seth Rollins the architect. You always hear this talk in WWE forcing us to believe, well shit, some people, they believe it easily, but I digress. With me being a person that actually pays attention to how characters are developed and things like that, this whole I'm 2 steps ahead of Roman and all of it is bullshit. But in that one moment, I could actually see Seth Rollins, employing some strategy and planning, and like I said, living up to that moniker of the architect. So that was great stuff. What else do we have? You got anything else for this match?
I mean, not to me. It was a very good match, and like you said, I agree with. I wish it was a bit more back and forth. It was kind of reminiscent of a Brock Lesnar match at the beginning, and I'm actually looking forward to the next time Reigns and Lesnar fight, because I think that'll be a cool evolution to see the first time they face compared to the next time they do, because Roman's come a long way, but that's incidental to what we're talking about now. I thought I was impressed by Roman like always, and Seth Rollins was awesome as well. He pulled off that broke his knee or whatever happened to the guy. I did see finally the documentary, and it was a very good documentary and very sympathetic. So I probably shouldn't have watched it unless they're turning Rollins heel. Then, I mean, babyface, and then it's all good. But
okay,
yeah, it was a good match.
And after that, after Seth Rollins wins the championship, another moment. Roman Reigns going for the spear on Seth Rollins, but him countering into the pedigree. That was fucking awesome,
that was
too.
Cool.
That was really good. So after that match, we get Dean Ambrose, who won the Money in the Bank earlier on in the night. He comes out, he cashes in, and he hits Seth Rollins with the Dirty Deeds, pins him, and now Dean Ambrose is a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
And I know why you don't like this. And there's probably
I didn't say anything
like
yet.
This.
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
Don't assume.
All right. Then let me guess, and you'll tell me if I'm right. I think you don't like that because, one, Ambrose has been shoddily booked. He wins some matches, he loses others. And two, you just don't like the Money in the Bank. And I wouldn't disagree with you on either of those points necessarily, if that's what you do think. We'll see. But I do have to say that I'm not pissed off at this Money in Cash In like I usually am. Because this one I feel like was...
You said you're not what?
I'm not pissed off at this cash in like I usually am. Why?
Oh, I was just asking. I didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm usually with you in the fact that I hate the Money in the Bank. But with this one, I felt like Ambrose, he's the type that to me, this is like a sonic boom, like where you break the sound barrier and then like a few seconds later you hear it, or like a thunderclap where the lightning strikes and then a few months later he actually wins the title. Like I feel like this was well deserved. He won the title several times before, so to me it's not as if this is like a Dolph Ziggler case where he's just coming out of nowhere and winning the title. I feel like he's won it so many times in my mind that it doesn't feel out of place.
What does that even mean? He's won it so many times.
How many times has he won the title? He pulled it down with Rollins on the ladder.
And a few that he
Rollins?
shouldn't have been in, which he was only in because he was riding the coattails of the Shield. That's the exact position we're in right now, too.
First of all, no. He wasn't riding the coattails of the Shield. He was involved in a very good feud against Seth Rollins. So if you're going to say he was riding the coattails of the Shield...
If anybody else on the planet was champion at that time, Dean Ambrose wouldn't have been a contender. Or anybody except for...
Right.
Roman
that's true. Okay, sure, that's true. But nonetheless, he beat the champion in that match. He also pinned Seth Rollins, if I recall, and then they reversed the decision. I don't remember why. He beat Triple H practically. I mean, his foot was under the ropes, and I know like he knew that his foot was under the ropes, but I think that's supposed to be ambiguous whether or not he actually did know. So I mean, he's won the title 3 times, and that's his character arc is winning the title but losing it by a technicality. And it's I don't completely out of nowhere to have this victory. Also, I just like the poetic justice of him beating Rollins for it, and I like that Rollins was cashed in on. So to me, that's that wraps up the Seth Rollins heel arc for me. If that was the end of it, I like that ending.
Okay, so here's the thing. You guys know I've had my issues with Dean Ambrose and the way in which he's been booked, and you all know that I've had my issues with Money in the Bank. This is just fuckery squared. That's what Dean Ambrose cashing in Money in the Bank and winning the championship is. Fuckery squared. And
so I was right. So.
Please, if you even think about considering maybe sending me a tweet or posting messages talking about, well, Dean Ambrose is popular and the crowd likes him, with all due respect, I do not give a flying fuck. Because if you tell me, well, Dean Ambrose is over, and then slide that, oh, well, he's more over than Roman is, all that means is that other people like him. That is not enough justification for me to like somebody. You're effectively telling me, well, other people like Dean Ambrose, so you should too. I look at what I see on WWE TV and base what I want to happen off of the stories that are being told. What makes sense in the stories and what makes sense to this character in this moment in time. And Dean Ambrose should not be WWE World Heavyweight Champion right now. They missed a huge fucking opportunity to solidify this guy as a top talent in WWE at WrestleMania, and they flopped. They fucking failed at it. So you really mean to tell me that I'm supposed to sit here and accept him as a world champion? No, I'm not going to do that. And I know that there are a lot of folks out there, they're so happy because this is shock value. Like, oh my God, like something crazy happened to end the show. Roman Reigns isn't the champion and this happened and that happened. It's so fucking cheap and way too easy for me to sit here and, jump up and cheer, oh, hey, we got a hot potato game going on with the fucking championship.
Man,
like,
it's awesome, dude.
I don't care.
It's so cool. It's just so cool to see
what's cool?
It's just see the Reed Shield members having the title within like 5 minutes of each other. It's awesome.
What is cool about that? Just so that can be like a little anecdote for history or something? Like,
no, it's like these guys have always talked about like how they're gonna rule the WWE, and it's happening, man. It's awesome. First of all, I don't really get why you think this is such fuckery, because it's not like Ambrose has so little credibility that he can't be the champion.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's
No,
like.
it's not. If you look at his victories, he's beaten everyone except Brock Lesnar, and that's not the standard you should be holding him to.
And I have never said that Dean Ambrose needed to beat Brock Lesnar.
Sorry, he didn't beat Roman Reigns
He needed to have a
either,
better
but
showing.
Yeah, okay, and I agree with you. I completely agree. I'm not going to argue that. But that just because he didn't have a good match or a good showing doesn't negate the fact that he has been booked decently. He beat so many people.
Yes, it does.
Are you going to forget the fight against Triple H so easily? Like, he had a good showing there. Does it just completely negate that altogether?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It does. Because that was supposed to be his star-making performance. And let's not act like this guy has been roses since then. He just came out of a shitty feud with Chris Jericho, also in one of the worst matches I've seen
this
was entire
shitty.
year.
It was shitty, but from a kayfabe point of view, he beat Jericho, 2 or 3 times? Not that that's so impressive, but combined with all the other victories he's had over practically everyone else in the company except Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, I think it's okay for him to be the champion. I don't think it's
all in moments in matches and feuds that he wasn't supposed to be in.
What does that mean, man?
We're gonna sit here and act like Dean Ambrose wasn't just the fucking pit stop
So
on the
okay,
road
so
to
what?
WrestleMania.
So what? I know you're not going to defend him, but why aren't you complaining about Seth Rollins? He was in the exact same situation as Ambrose.
Wait a minute, what do you mean? Why aren't I complaining about Seth Rollins?
Shouldn't you be saying that
Haven't I complained enough about Seth Rollins?
No, yes, you complained about his booking, but you haven't made this exact complaint. You haven't said Seth Rollins rode the coattails of the Shield, and that's why he's in the main event. He doesn't belong in the main event. All you've said is that you don't like his character, which we all know, but you haven't made this complaint.
Why would I say that when I don't believe that? So why would I say that?
What, that he doesn't belong in the main event?
When you're talking about he rode the coattails of the Shield, I don't believe that at all.
I'm saying you should believe
what
that
I'm saying in the
because
case
he
of
had
Dean
the exact
Ambrose,
same situation as Ambrose.
No, it's not. In the case of Dean Ambrose, he would not be fucking champion right now if it were not
And Rollins wouldn't have
Roman
been
Reigns
champion.
and Seth Rollins in the main event.
And Seth Rollins would not have been champion if it weren't for all the shit that happened with the Shield. I mean, it's not like he beat a bunch of guys to get there. He won the Money in the Bank and cashed in just like Ambrose did. So you should be saying the same thing about Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins' character was built up. It went to shit at one point, but there was a point in time where Seth Rollins was actually built up very strongly.
In fact, if anything, Ambrose belongs more in the main event because Ambrose almost won the Money in the Bank until Kane came in. So it's like, I get the fact that you don't like the characters, but to me, they're in very similar situations. They're like parallels, and to say that one belongs there,
not at all.
What do you mean, not at all? What did Rollins do? What did Rollins' character do to get into the main event? That's so impressive. He lost to Randy Orton, dude, on the same night that he won the belt. If I remember correctly, that did happen, right?
Yes, that happened.
So
it happened.
So what the hell, man? I mean, what did Rollins do that made him worthy of being a champion that Ambrose has not done? I mean, I can name more things for Ambrose than I can name for Rollins. I mean, the only thing I could say for Rollins is that he had a nice showing against Lesnar and Cena, but that's it. And Ambrose, I could say, well, he had a nice showing against Triple H where he pretty much won. He beat Rollins like twice. He beat John Cena in a kind of a shitty match, but nonetheless. He beat practically everyone else except for Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. So, I mean, why does Rollins deserve it, but Ambrose doesn't? I don't get that. And look, I'm not even saying either of them do, technically. Because if I'm setting the bar high where I should be setting it, then neither of them do. But if I set the bar where it should be, I'd go crazy watching this show. So I'm not going to necessarily do that. I just, you know, do you see what I'm saying?
No, I don't. I don't.
What?
I don't.
So answer. What did Rollins do on his way to the title?
See, it's very easy for you to take this very cheap route and
it's
negate
not cheap.
My thoughts on Dean Ambrose by comparing him to Seth Rollins. There are millions of situations that this can be done, but that whatever that I could possibly say about Seth Rollins, it doesn't change the fact that Dean Ambrose cashing in was fuckery squared. The guy was nowhere near the top tier in WWE. He should have been. He could have been, but he wasn't.
He's in the A tier.
And how many months have I complained about that on the fucking kayfabe tier list? So don't sit here and act like you're surprised. Like, oh my God, why is he saying all of this about Dean Ambrose? Every fucking time you release one of those things, I'm like, that guy, not so sure about him. I don't know what's going on here. But
I just don't understand why you disregard the victories that he's had that he only lost by technicality.
Because they were bullshit. He wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for other stuff going on.
Okay, but look, let me look at it from a kayfabe point of view. Okay, forget about the booking shit because we like to look at it from kayfabe, right? That's what we like to do. Let's say he did just get thrown into the main event against Rollins. He still beat him. let's say he did get thrown into the thing against Triple H, he still practically beat him. So it's like, yeah, maybe he got there in a way that he didn't deserve, but then he proved that he deserved to be there by getting the victories.
But you don't understand why I would have an issue with that, about the convenience that comes along with the way in which Dean Ambrose is booked, where it's like you're only... whatever happens when you get there, it happens, but I still have an issue with the way in which he got there. And that's a problem for me. For a person that likes to see a journey and likes to see stories told and characters developed, I have a problem with that.
This is a good story, and I'm kind of sad that you don't see it. The fact that Ambrose has lost by technicality for over a year now, when he is so close to the title, and then he wins it against the guy who cost him the title like 3 times, that's a story right there. That's an arc. So I mean, it might not be one you like particularly, but it is a journey.
And you understand, shit, I think you just explained it right there. The fact that it's all about the Shield. It's like they skipped the character development on Dean Ambrose and skipped like preparing him for this moment because they knew that they always had this story to fall back on.
I don't know
okay,
what you
we don't have to build this guy up, you know.
They have
whenever we want to flip the switch on this Shield story, we can go with it, and that's what they did here.
They've developed it every time he's been that close. The reactions that he's given, I can link you to promos that Ambrose has given right before or right after the title matches that I'm talking about, where you could see the character development. So I don't know. It's not like Ambrose is like has no character. He has a definite character. He has more character, in fact, than Roman Reigns. At least until recently, Roman's been all right, but up until recently, he's had more character than Roman Reigns. And anyway, Evan's here now.
What's up, Evan?
I am here. You know what? I think you guys are definitely having yourselves an interesting debate, and I'll weigh
He's
in
gonna
on
cash
my
in on
thoughts.
us right now.
But I'm the Ambrose right now of this conversation because the first thing.
If you're the Ambrose, let me hang up on him right now. Let me keep
okay, bye. Peace. I came and I left
Evan's
very
gonna
quickly.
break the tie here. Whatever he says is the right opinion, so let's go.
I came and I left very quickly, kind of like
No, I saw his tweets earlier. No, fuck that. No.
All right, so first thing I want to say is, hallelujah! All 3 members of the Shield is champion in one
Yeah, right.
It's
Isn't that
so
cool?
amazing.
That's cool, right?
That's bullshit.
It's so amazing that
That
happened
is
in one night. Oh man, Roman Reigns walks in, then Rollins gets the belt for a couple minutes, then Ambrose walks away with the title. It's like, oh man, it's like you can't help but nerd out in that. Like I
know, right?
The thing is, like I'm more than willing to be honest with myself as someone who loved the Shield so much. Like it is a moment where like I just said, yeah, forget about the rest of the things. This Shield are all champions in the same night. Like. Man,
see, it's so weird that we're looking at this from different perspectives because you're saying as a big Shield fan, you're happy at that moment. I'm like, as a big Shield fan, knowing what WWE did with that group and knowing the care that went into booking the Shield. One thing that I will say in favor of WWE's creative team, they did a fucking phenomenal job with the Shield, making sure that they constantly reinvented them, constantly found things for them to do to keep them fresh and interesting and things like that. And that is why I have a problem with what happened at Money in the Bank, because that wasn't fresh or interesting or, you know, like it wasn't done with any kind of care for the characters. It was all about, let's just create a fucking shocking moment. So you say you're a Shield fan and you're happy by that. I'm a Shield fan, knowing what they were capable of, knowing what they did, knowing how they were handled by the creative team. That's why I'm mad, because that care that went into booking them back then, I don't see it right now.
Oh, sure, and I don't disagree with that. I really don't. The thing is, it's one of those things where I feel like if I review what happened in this match 2 days from now, I'd probably come down to earth a little more. I'm still hyped up from the main event. I'm still hyped up from what happened. And I'll admit, as someone who's a fan, I'm just being a mark and just enjoying what happened. And I think sometimes that is the key to it. I think that sometimes you do just need to just enjoy what happens. I mean, yeah, sure, there's been mistakes along the way, and I'm the first one to admit that they have not booked these 3 right at all times. Actually, there's been mistakes with all three that I can think of right off the top of my head. Roman Reigns being booked as John Cena 2.0, or them at least trying to attempt to make him a hero when he's not, and he never should have been. Seth Rollins is a complete trash-ass heel last year, and Dean Ambrose going from main event to not main event to main event to not main event, and not really winning all that many matches to really get to that level. But the story of Ambrose, kind of laying one in on Rollins felt right tonight. It did feel right in that main event. It was like, man, he is getting that vengeance. And sometimes, like, the story is a little bit twisted and things don't really go the way that they maybe are quote-unquote supposed to. But I think this is a case where things did kind of go off the rails, but tonight it worked. It really worked for me. I was not disappointed whatsoever with what happened tonight. And maybe that's just me being, very adrenaline-filled right now and just excited about what happened. But, like I just said, I can point out flaws, snap of your fingers fast with all three of these characters. And you're right, the amount of care that has been put in with these guys since the Shield has been nowhere near as consistent as it was when they were a unit. But I'm just so damn happy to see you guys winning the belt. And, like, it was like, I kind of wanted Ambrose to cash in a little bit later than the same night he won the briefcase. But, I mean, talk about spontaneity. I was just going nuts because of the fact that Rollins actually beat Reigns squeaky clean.
Well, let's not say squeaky.
Oh, it was squeaky.
That was
squeaky.
cleanish.
That was pretty squeaky, man, because he reversed the spear into the pedigree and then hit another one. I mean, that...
No, but Reigns had him kind of beat, but the referee was slow to count, so that's
true.
True. I wouldn't say squeaky, but it was cleanish. Right. It wasn't.
All right,
it
was
dirty,
shiny
but...
clean. Shiny?
Owens beat Cena squeaky clean.
That's true. That is true.
That was
deny
squeaky
that.
clean.
That can never be denied. So, I mean, I know I'm a little late to the party. Is this really the first major discussion we've had? Is just all about this, I'm assuming?
Well, because I can't wait to talk about it.
Arguing over this thing. That's
it is a story, dude. It's such a clear story.
It technically is a story. I get that. I understand. I'm well aware it is a story. A cheap, way too fucking easy shot value story, but a story nonetheless.
How is it? It's not that cheap, man. You gotta look at... Okay, when I think about this, I see Ambrose against Rollins, all the times that they fought, all the times that he basically beat Rollins. I see that. I see when he beat Triple H. Like, all of that comes to mind, and then this is the culmination of that, where for once... everything went right for Ambrose. Nothing got in the way. And I think I'm saying this because he gave a promo. It was on the YouTube channel, probably. Like all great promos. Where he says basically this. He says, maybe Money in the Bank will be the day that no one's foot is on the ropes. No Kane is there. Like, finally the stars will align and I won't get fucked over for once. So I see Ambrose not as this guy who loses every match. I see him as a guy who wins most of his big matches, but always somehow gets fucked out of it. I mean,
kind of playing that opportunist role.
I see he's lost like 2 big matches. He's lost against Reigns at Survivor Series, and he lost against
You are
Lesnar.
aware this guy was like on a year-long losing streak on pay-per-view, right?
Against
everybody.
Yeah, he did lose.
I remember.
For a year straight.
Yeah, but a lot of that shit was the technicalities that I'm talking about, and a lot of it was like against Bray Wyatt.
Well, I'll admit,
TV
like
exploding.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like a monitor exploded in his face. There was some reasoning to why he lost. It wasn't always clean as squeaky clean, but it definitely was there, and I think him losing was an element that doesn't really build up his credibility. But then what comes into question is, what are we looking for right now? Are we is credibility the number one thing still in this modern day WWE that we have right now, or are we just looking for characters that are good and take advantage at a certain time, and they do lose some of their matches, but they ultimately triumph. I guess you could spin the story 100 different ways.
Well, if you say, are we looking for either credibility or good characters? I don't see either in Dean Ambrose. So shit, I'm lost one way or another.
What are you talking about?
See, the thing
I don't
is,
see either.
I like Dean Ambrose's character, but the thing is, I don't really know what it is sometimes. I don't really know if the lunatic fringe is really like him being crazy or if it's just them saying he's crazy.
It's just
or...
him. It's just them saying he's crazy.
Yeah, so it's I'm kind of I don't know. I really like Dean Ambrose as a performer, but I think I like him more as a performer than I do with his current character. I think that's where you kind of get lost in the shuffle. I think that happens with a lot of characters, is that you don't even necessarily love the character as much as you like the guy, or you like what he's capable of, like Jay actually mentioned earlier. So, like, I see both of what you guys are saying, but I'm going to ultimately say I'm definitely happy with tonight. I'm not mad about what happened tonight. So
I do want to end with this. I can think what I want to about the results and how everything turned out tonight, but this could possibly spark something. Well, I can't even say could. It definitely is going to spark some interesting goings-on between all of the three members of the Shield. Like, they skipped a lot of the story to get to this point, but, I mean, it's not like if I complain loud enough, they're going to go, okay, we're going to go back and we're going to change that. We're going to rewind it and erase it from history. It happened. I have to accept it. Accepting it and moving on, we could get some good stuff out of
man.
all of these three
I
guys.
think I could. I think I'm gonna write something that'll change your mind.
I
think
got it.
I think if
I'm doubting it, but
I think if I write something that outlines the story of all three of these guys, you will see some
Steven,
validity.
it's not going to work.
All right.
It's not
see,
going to work at all.
the thing is, like,
Because I think you probably don't even understand where I'm coming from. That's
I
why
do.
you believe you can change my mind.
I do
Because
understand.
let's
I
not
get what
sit
you're
here and
saying.
act like this is something new for me. I've had thoughts on Dean Ambrose for a very long time.
It's
you
not
would
new.
have to go
It's
back
not new.
and erase all of that before you could get me to a point where I would accept him as champion now.
No, but I think it's a situation that you gotta see the right narrative. Just like, because that's how you work. Just like when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker and you didn't like it until you saw the Greek tragedy. You just gotta see it in the right lens.
yeah, and that's kind of hard to do though when this story has been so wishy-washy. It's
It
been so
has
up and
been
down.
wishy-washy, but I could definitely
Really
see a
has.
trajectory that makes
Well,
sense.
I think this go-home episode of Raw was where the first time I could see that trajectory in a long time, because Ambrose literally foreshadowed what ended up happening, and the promo literally was like a complete like sign that was like waving its hands at us saying this is what's going to happen on Sunday. And I mean, a lot of times that happens on the go-home show, and then, you know, we get the exact opposite, or, you know,
Yeah,
something
I didn't
completely
expect
different.
that because I thought that it was too obvious. I thought Owens would
Right.
win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, so I mean, and the thing is, I was really liking the way Ambrose was being booked, like late last year, early this year, and then the match with Lesnar happened, and then his booking has been trashed since then. So if this was like, if you take me back to like January, February, when he was like second to last guy in the Royal Rumble, he was actually facing Triple H for the belt. I can believe him in this spot right now. If you put that and then the Money in the Bank and then this all together, it's like, oh, that flows so beautifully. But once he had that match with Lesnar and the way he was booked like crap for those couple of months, I think that really did hurt him. Again, this though made it more surprising at the same time. So like, I see the pro and con to it, you know, because it makes the moment
how
more
depressing that
genuine.
sounds.
It does make
It's
the
like
moment
you
more
were
genuine, though.
you were booked shitty, so it comes as more of a surprise when you're the champion. Like, I think Austin in the chat said I'm stubborn. Like, if me not accepting that makes me stubborn, then I'm stubborn. That's it. Like, I sit here and I'm hearing this and I'm like, oh my God. Like, is this where we are right now? And Steven, you got some work ahead of you, guy. I'm waiting to see what you come up with.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes, we actually do have, well, every other match aside from the main event to discuss tonight. So we're going to start at the top. This was the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. New Day versus Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows, Enzo Amore and Big Cass, and also the Vaudevillains. New Day and still WWE Tag Team Champions.
This was a great match, but I think New Day is holding on to these things a little bit too long. It's kind of getting old.
Wait, you said this was a great match?
Yeah, you didn't think so?
Not
This
at
was the Fatal 4-Way for the tag team titles.
Yeah.
I don't think we're talking about the same match here.
What was wrong with it?
What wasn't wrong with it? That's the question.
I thought
This
it was
match
cool.
was a hot ass mess.
Well, by virtue of it being this type of match that it is, yeah, but I was excited throughout. I thought there were some cool spots.
Yeah, there were a few cool spots. There were a few like what the fuck moments too. Like there was like a big sequence of botches. I won't even name off the competitors who were involved because it was almost everybody in the match. And then
it was
the
bad.
biggest botch came with. Like, I actually went back and watched this just to make sure I saw what I saw the first time. Karl Anderson tags Aiden English to get into the match. Then some shit happens. Then Karl Anderson tries to pin Aiden English. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, dude. You tagged him to get into the fucking match, so that should tell you he's not the legal man. But then you try to pin him? And that was weird. Like
sometimes I miss botches because I'm like with my friends, and so. But
yeah, there were enough in here. I don't see how you could have missed it. This match was this was rough.
You know what got me about this match was there was multiple moments where you could tell that the competitors were waiting for the next spot to happen, and whoever was supposed to come forward with the spot wasn't there in time. It happened in one of the pinfalls.
I believe there was one big moment.
Gallows had to come in and break up the pinfall. The crowd actually chanted 3 because they were counting along with the ref, and they counted 3 because the ref almost counted the first one and actually then delayed his count because he knew Gallows wasn't in position. The same thing happened, I believe, again, either with Gallows and Anderson or if it was Enzo and Cass. There was a moment where they kind of stopped and were frozen in the ring waiting for the spot to happen, and it just felt like things were very robotic in the second half of the match. I actually think the beginning of the match was pretty solid, and things just gradually went downhill, and it was like a rolling stone. It gathered moss real quick. You know, it got worse and worse, I felt. So it was a match that I think had some enjoyable moments toward the beginning, and then just really stunk up the joint.
In like the middle for me, that's when it started to get exciting. I think I remember the exact point. It was when Big Cass got into the ring and he like wrecked shop. That he had like all of this energy about him. That was cool. Seeing Enzo actually wrestle for a change, that fucking threw me off. I was like, wow, like if you add up all of the wrestling that Enzo has done in every match that I've ever seen him in, it still wouldn't be half of what he did in this one match with Kofi. So, I mean, that was cool because one thing that I like is if you have someone who has charisma on the mic and just a natural charisma in the way that they, like a natural charisma in their persona, and that extends to the way that they move in the ring, it's awesome. I would put The Rock at like the top of my list for me when it comes to a person that moves with charisma. Nakamura would be another one. I'm not saying that Enzo is on that level, but that kind of like shows you guys what I'm talking about. A person that moves with charisma and they're very entertaining and just like their movements. So it was cool to see something different from Enzo for a change. But yeah, I have to overall give this match a thumbs down because this was a hot ass mess. Hot mess.
I don't think the New Day should be retaining anymore.
I thought that this was going to be the time where they lost.
This was a perfect time for them to lose the belts if it was going to happen. So now I think they're breaking the single title reign record or whatever.
Yeah, it just feels like they only have the titles to break that record. But they've gone through everyone, so I was like, what do you do now?
It's been a great run, but I think that this was like the time for them to drop them. I mean, it's kind of gotten to a point now where it's like, all right, let's switch things up, and I think it would freshen things up a lot to have a new team with the belts. So, nothing against obviously New Day because I really like them, but you know, it's time to I think switch things up a little bit. And this was a perfect chance. You got 4 teams in the match; they didn't even have to lose, and they could have just lost the belts.
Okay, next up we have Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin. Now, I do have to say I missed a lot of this match because I accidentally hit the switch on my power strip, and my router shut down, my computer shut down, my PS4, everything fucking shut down. And, you know, it was terrible. Like, that happening wasn't terrible, but the fact that when it all turned back on, the match was still going on. That was terrible.
Yeah,
So,
I don't really want to talk about this. It wasn't even bad. I just don't care.
yeah, that's the thing for me, too. I don't really care. But I will say, though, when everything came back on, that was seconds before Baron Corbin hit that deep six on Dolph Ziggler on the outside of the ring. That was good.
Yeah, Baron Corbin did
like
some
that.
cool things,
Mm-hmm.
and I like him. I think he's all right. But this feud, obviously, we don't want to see this anymore.
Yeah, like, dude, I
He's
was tired
a
of this
mess on the
feud.
main roster.
I was tired of this feud 2 months ago, and it's still going on for some freaking reason.
I was tired of this feud after the first fucking match.
Yeah,
No,
I
during the
really
first
am.
match.
And I mean, it's funny because this was on the pre-show at one of the other pay-per-views, and now it
I think
actually
it was
got
on the
moved.
pre-show twice. Was
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
it was.
Right, and now it's actually on the
And
main
it was
card
supposed to be
thing.
on the pre-show on this one too, but they
It should
flipped
have
it to the.
Well, then again, it should have been, but then again, there was 2 matches on the pre-show which were absolutely worthless too. So they should have just made it 3. And anyway, yeah, I didn't care about this match at all. Not invested. I mean, the right guy won, but that's the only
Baron
positive
Corbin.
thing I have to say. I really don't care about this. I just don't, and I think we should just move on.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's going to get any better. Because
It's not. It's not. Full disclosure,
We have Charlotte
I
and
completely
Dana
didn't
Brooke
watch
versus-
these matches.
Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Natalya and Becky Lynch, and
Didn't pay attention.
I wish that I cared enough to be mad at this, but I don't.
What actually happened? Because I literally it was like can't be bothered to watch this. I was just playing a game on my phone during this one.
I know Natalya turned heel after.
Oh,
and
that's
it was
right.
his
Yeah,
first-
I did see that, which is like, dude, how many divas are gonna turn heel? I'm
You
starting
know-
to hate heel turns. I think they're so stupid.
And I said that this was Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Natalya and Becky Lynch. I think this was like a handicap tag match. It was 3-on-2 because there was somebody else in the ring, a ghost, invisible something. Because there was a point in time where Natalya was crawling to her corner to try to tag Becky Lynch, and she was struggling like somebody was holding her back, and nobody was there. Or maybe somebody was there and we just didn't see them. So shit, maybe it's Sasha Banks. You know, she's invisible, apparently.
Maybe I guess so. Yeah.
Where's
but maybe
Alicia
they-
Fox been? I haven't seen her in like a
Oh,
month.
that's true. Yeah, she's another one.
I just had to check if she was still employed.
Yeah, I
She
think
is.
so. Yeah.
I actually like Alicia Fox a lot. I mean,
I
Me
did
too.
too. Yeah, no, I think Alicia Fox.
That
is
Northern Lights suplex. Oh my god. See,
She
I'm a
hits that
person
burger.
that as we go into other topics, I'm a person that like I look at people and the way in which they do moves. Like I know Adam Rose, he has a very nice spine buster. On the flip side of that, I fucking hate Randy Orton's clothesline. But yeah, I look at the way that in which people do moves, and I like it's this weird thing that I do, and I like rank the moves. Yeah, Alicia Fox, that is my favorite move. Her doing the Northern Lights suplex, she does it perfectly every single time, and the way that she like pops up on her toes too, nice.
Yeah, excellent.
But,
she was definitely underrated, I think. But you know, it's funny. Maybe Natalya saw The Conjuring 2 or something, and just got kind of scared of the ghosts and thought they were like trying to drag her to hell or something. I don't know. Either way, this match, yeah, complete waste of time. I did not enjoy it at all. I really didn't pay that great attention to it. It's really hard to because there's nothing to pay attention to. Honestly, I felt like this was just another Divas tag match, right? I mean, this isn't the Divas division anymore. It's supposed to be the women's division, but it doesn't feel any different, so it should still be called the Divas division if it's just going to be like this. But I think this is just filler because they want Sasha. They want to put her in for the title, I think, but they're waiting till SummerSlam, and they're figuring, oh, well, you know what, we're just going to completely bore the crap out of everyone between now and then. So
It's working. It's working. If that's your
Yes.
plan, it's working.
Yes,
I just
absolutely.
hate the heel turns, man. I hate them because, like, the characters, they make no sense. It's like one moment you're an actual human being, the next moment you completely lose all empathy and you become a psychopath. That's every heel turn, and I'm like, everyone in the WWE is a psychopath. Like, literally, almost everyone, because these guys, they act all nice, but one bad day and they just beat you down for 20 minutes. It's like...
Well, I don't think Natalya lost all empathy, because after she beat Becky Lynch up, she was like crying and wiping away tears. So.
Oh, okay.
So
Maybe
there you
she
go.
just
She's
saw
still
those
a human
ghosts
being.
again.
She was crying because of the match, probably.
Yeah, I posted on Twitter like, "Oh, I see her wiping away tears. Yeah, girl, I feel you. I feel like crying right now too, especially since I was at WrestleMania and I was waiting for either her or Becky Lynch to win that championship, and it didn't happen. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna be biased against
confused.
Charlotte forever
Natalya?
because of that.
Natalya wasn't at WrestleMania in that match.
Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be biased against Charlotte forever because of that.
See, at this point
And
in
I'm
the
just gonna let
pay-per-view,
you know right now.
because like we were like maybe an hour deep in the pay-per-view by this point. I was sitting there thinking to myself, man, didn't the deep voice guy at the beginning say that this is the greatest Money in the Bank pay-per-view of all time? I'm not seeing it so far.
Better than the CM Punk match.
Oh yeah. Oh please.
I think that's why they're saying it, to be honest with you.
Maybe. Very well, maybe.
That's one. Okay.
The next match I also didn't pay attention to, but not for any
Apollo
reason.
Crews versus Sheamus.
Oh boy. Hey, the right guy won.
Mm-hmm.
That's the second time I could say that about this one. The right guy went over.
You know what? I don't like Apollo Crews, and I don't like that I don't like him because he seems cool, but I just don't like the smiling. I don't like it.
That was a nice moonsault from the apron onto Sheamus.
I'm getting Bobby Lashley vibes from him.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, Lashley's had some good work in that other company, but
which one was that again?
That's that total nonstop.
Well, I will
wrestling
say about
company.
Bobby
No,
Lashley,
in that parking
he was,
lot in Walmart where AJ Styles wrestled Kurt Angle.
I will say about Bobby Lashley, he is favored by Donald Trump, so you must have something
That's
to him
true.
that I'm not seeing.
Yeah,
I think he might be thinking about choosing Bobby Lashley for his VP. We love
so
Bobby,
he can-
don't we? Bobby Lindsay?
Yes, we love him. In other news, Kevin Love celebrated his NBA Finals win with a Stone Cold Steve Austin beer chug and an Austin 316 shirt. Figured that was relevant since we're talking about an irrelevant.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it's more relevant than Sheamus.
Stone Cold, baby.
I saw
Kevin
LeBron
Love.
James at practice the other day. He had on an Undertaker shirt.
That's pretty awesome. These guys
Nice
were
little pro wrestling connection there.
Yeah, they were feeling it, man. And well, see, everyone thinks the NBA Finals were rigged, so I mean, you're thinking wrestling, NBA Finals, yeah, same thing. You know, people are ridiculous, but I digress. I think that's probably a little more relevant than Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. I mean, he won with a roll up too, which was kind of weird. I felt.
See, and just to tie back into something that Steven said about Apollo Crews, like, I don't like Sheamus, and I don't like the fact that I don't like him. So, yeah, because I saw some of his movements in this match, and like, I want to be a fan of Sheamus. I
actually am a fan of Sheamus. I just like there's something about his booking that's always wrong. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and I could say something about this match. The way that they were going crazy over Apollo Crews beating Sheamus, I don't think Sheamus has been booked at a level to where, like, of course, it exists in the history books. He's a multiple-time world champion, but he hasn't been booked on a level of seriousness to where I think that was warranted, where they're going crazy. Oh my God, this is the biggest win of his career, and he's, you know, shooting a rocket to the top, and all of this crazy stuff. Like, I just sit there, and when the announcers say stuff like that, no credibility at all. None.
Yeah.
It has no effect on me. So.
Well, this is the greatest Money in the Bank of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very clear. Very clear after Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. I was convinced.
Yeah, after Apollo Crews and Sheamus, because the match that we got after Apollo Crews and Sheamus
I see what you did there, Jay.
Well, there's no Eric Rowan.
That was nice,
match,
right?
So.
John Cena versus AJ Styles. Well, I don't know. I guess I'll see what you guys think about it. Yeah, AJ Styles is the victor here. He pinned John Cena after interference from Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Yeah. This was an awesome match, and for the first time I felt like AJ Styles a little bit cool. A little bit. I saw some attitude.
Oh, you're coming around.
A little bit. I saw some attitude from him. And it was a great match, but the ending kind of deflated it, I felt like. And I don't know what it does really for AJ Styles to have him win that way. I think it's better than him losing to Cena, but I feel like it didn't really do much.
To piggyback off of what you said about AJ Styles being cool, like that honestly was the highlight of the match for me. Not even necessarily the movements that AJ had or the moves or anything like that. Of course, that's great, but the attitude that he displayed. We've been talking about on the show.
Yeah.
I think it was Lucas. He was in cast. They weren't buying into the shit that AJ was saying when he was like, well, if I was in WWE 15 years ago and if the powers that be didn't keep me away from this company, I would have had your spot, and all of your accomplishments, I would have had them. I don't think that it's necessary for anybody to believe AJ when he says that, but the one, or it's not necessary for anyone except for AJ to believe it. And that was the cool thing about this match, because I looked at AJ and the attitude that he displayed, every single movement that he had in this ring. It's like he had a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah,
and
that's
he was
how I
wrestling
felt
in that
too.
match like, damn it, this is 15 years of frustration, and I'm going to beat it out of your ass.
This
like,
is the
I
first-
know I'm better than you. I know everything that you have. I deserve it. This is all supposed to be mine. And you could see him move with that on his mind. And that is a sign of a phenomenal wrestler, a sign of a phenomenal performer overall, because you're bringing in the acting and making me believe what you're doing based off of your movements and your, like, the swagger that he had. It was
Every
electric.
time he ducked those
Great.
punches, I thought it was awesome. Like, I felt like for the first time, I felt he's actually like this tremendous wrestler. Because this is the first AJ Styles match that I was actually impressed by. Not because the rest of them were bad, because, I mean, he's always good, but I just felt like, yeah, whatever, he's flippy. But this one, I felt like he did, like, everything had intention and purpose behind it, like you were saying. And it just felt like he was a really, like, he was a master wrestler, because he knew everything Cena was going to do. Like, every move he did, he dodged it, like, 2 seconds before it happened. The dodging the punches, I thought, particularly were awesome. Like, he would dodge, like, pretty much every single one, and then he would hit him.
I really liked when Cena went for the shoulder tackle, and then he went for the second one, and Styles hit him with a drop kick. I thought that was awesome.
And that, what you just said there, Steven, that adds another layer to this match, because I didn't even really consider that. But it, like, going into the story, it's like AJ was preparing for this for a very long time. Like, he studied John Cena and just was, like, everything that John Cena threw his way, he had an answer to it. And that's one of the big reasons why I can't accept the way that this match ended.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about it like that, I'm getting more upset at the ending.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is the first match where I thought, like, he lived up to the phenomenal tagline, because other than that, while I think he's good, he just seems like another flippy guy to me. Like, I mean, same level as Ziggler or someone like that. Yeah, they're good, but what are they going to do for me? But the attitude that he showed here as a character really impressed me.
Well, he had one good moment with some non-mic work when he said, "Oh, is that all he's got?"
Yeah,
and
like
I
that
was
too.
like, "Oh man!" Like, that attitude was he was very cocky, and that's why the heel AJ Styles is better than the face AJ Styles.
And you guys know I love
this
me
match.
some non-mic work.
Oh, exactly, and you can't help but love that type of stuff. And you know what else I kind of noticed in this match? It almost felt like they were subtly telling us that John Cena was kind of rusty. I didn't notice the commentators really say those words, but it was clear from what I was seeing. I could see that he was looking kind of older. He was looking a little more gassed, and maybe that's just because he actually was. But I think that was part of the story too, was that he couldn't quite keep up with the quickness of AJ. throughout the earlier stages of the match, and I thought that was really cool. I really was like nodding my head during it. I'm like, man, I really like this. I like that they're actually making it look like Cena is mortal and that this guy might just have his number. Like, I noticed a couple of times when AJ like slid back into the ring and was kind of like, come on, like bring it on, and Cena would just kind of have that look of like, what do I have to do with this guy? He's different from anything.
God, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, and so that storytelling piece was really cool to me. So I think that is partly why I enjoyed the match as much as I did. That's not even talking about the finish, but the match was very, very good. It lived up to the hype 100% in my opinion. 100% lived up to the hype.
Here's the thing when it comes to the ending. There was someone on Twitter, a few people actually, they basically acknowledged the fact that, okay, well, if AJ was going to win, this is the only way that he was going to win. So it's like they're accepting it just because AJ won, even though it came under very questionable circumstances. I'm going to say this. If that was the only way that AJ could have won that match, I didn't want to see him win. Like, I honestly was thinking, before the Bullet Club ran out, I would have loved to see John Cena win in some kind of unscrupulous way, because I think that would have played into the story of the match.
But what if Cena beat him clean? Would you have preferred that? So, like, on the hierarchy of our alternatives, like, the preferred one is AJ beating him clean, but if that's not going to happen, then you'll take Cena beating him unclean and then AJ
honestly,
beating him.
I would put John Cena, like, somehow cheating to win over AJ Styles getting the clean win.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I really would have wanted to see that, because it, like, I know some people out there may be like, what the hell is he even talking about? But if you look at the story of the match, it flows right into John Cena using some kind of unscrupulous method to best AJ, because AJ, he came in prepared. He knew John Cena. He knew what John Cena was capable of. He knew what John Cena was about, and he had an answer, like I said, for everything that John Cena did. If John Cena would have pulled it out of his bag, like, okay, well, shit, I'm desperate, and just like Evan was talking about, he had this, like, deer in the headlights look, like, what the hell is going on here? If John Cena, in that moment of desperation, was like, look, this guy has challenged me in my reign on the top of WWE. I'll be damned if I let him come into my company and defeat me in my ring. And he used some kind of method to, like, cheat or something to win. I would have liked that.
That would have been
definitely
an amazing story element.
What we got.
That's an amazing story element too. If John Cena actually had to use a tactic he never would in order to beat Styles, because that would mean, in my opinion, that, oh wow, now it really adds to an element to this, because now all of a sudden it's like AJ Styles has your number, and they haven't really told that story. They hinted at it with Kevin Owens last year because he beat him squeaky clean in the first match that they had, but obviously then what happened happened. Squeaky clean. It was freaking amazing. It still is. Now, I wish AJ Styles had some of that squeakiness tonight.
Yeah, that's why I don't really buy what the tweet that you read, where it's like the AJ Styles couldn't have won clean. It's like, well, I don't know. Owens did it. Alberto Del Rio did it for some reason with a kick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what? If Del Rio can do it, I mean, why not AJ? So, I think it would have really been awesome if you could have gotten the clean win, because then it'd say, look, I just beat you without the club. I mean, I think on one hand they want to push AJ, but they're not really going all the way. I think it's kind of not helping. But
and the shitty part about the way that the match ended is that AJ can't go out there and tell that story that I ran circles around you. Well, technically he can tell that story, but John Cena has a very easy retort. You may have ran circles around me, but I had you beat. And your guys, they come in, and that's the reason why you won the match.
Yeah, that's what I hate. To me, it just felt so cliche, and that's the word that I used when I posted a tweet about it. It just felt like a cliche, very cookie-cutter type of heel win.
Yeah.
Where they came in, they interfered, they threw him on top of Cena, and he won. I actually thought Cena was going to kick out because there was a delay with the ref, and I actually wish he did kick out, and then if Styles was going to win, it would have been kind of like Rollins' win, which was, like, shiny, you know? But you know what, though? Like, for me, if AJ was going to need to use a tactic to win, I wish it was him who used the tactic. Because then Cena could have come out the night after. I'm thinking booking perspective. Cena comes out the night after, says, hey, you couldn't beat me straight up, blah, blah, blah. And then AJ Styles comes out and says, you know what? I signed that contract and said it was only going to be me, and it only was me. I lived up to my word. I just won in a different way than from what you're used to. I do whatever I need to do to win a match. That would have been a good retort on AJ Styles' part, and also plants the seed for a second match between the two guys without involving the club. So if the club's going to get involved, they'll get involved in the second match. So the first match, they legit didn't get involved, and Styles wins the match. Even if it is dirty, I would have rather just been on his own rather than with the help of the other two. Although he did say they were his insurance policy, but the contract signing, I wish they stuck to the contract, and then AJ was like, hey, I can still do this without them. Yeah,
it's weird. Like, the contrast.
And of course, he could easily go out there and say, oh, well, I didn't have anything to do with that. They just ran out. But, I mean, that means nothing.
The contrast between the match and the ending is so stark. Like, it feels like
that's
the match
a big problem for me.
The match was something special, not just from a wrestling point of view, because there are a lot of special wrestling matches, but just from a storytelling point of view, for all the reasons that we just discussed with AJ and Cena, it was something special. But then the ending was just something cliche, so that's a problem.
Yeah, if this was the only way to get AJ a win, it wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it at all. Like, I know you have a lot of people there. They're happy about the fact that he got the win, but there were so many other elements that could have been explored with the way in which that match ended that I think that they would have worked better for the story and for AJ Styles as a whole. I guess we'll see what happens with this, but yeah, right now I'm thinking that it wasn't worth it at all. But so I guess this is the main event of PWF Empire Live tonight.
What about Rusev?
And Titus O'Neil.
Oh, I thought we were going to go to the Money in the Bank because we didn't really talk about that.
Oh, shit, did I skip that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I skipped that. Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Alberto Del Rio, Sami Zayn, Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho, Money in the Bank ladder match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship contract. Yeah, Dean Ambrose, of course, won this match, and yeah, Dean Ambrose won.
Yeah, it's so hard to say things about these ladder matches because we have so many of them over the years that they all blend together, and I'm not impressed by anything that happens in these matches. I'm just like, okay, I just want to see the end, basically, because...
See, I was thinking that. I was sitting there like, why am I not jumping for joy? And... yeah, I guess I'm in the same boat as you.
I'll say when Kevin Owens
it's hard to
is back,
impress me with these.
When Kevin Owens is back, went into that ladder that was like standing up on its side. That made
the Michinoku driver from Sami Zayn. That was sick.
Yeah,
there was some cool stuff. Yeah,
Cesaro put Jericho into that ladder off the spin. I thought that was a nice spot. Also, he threw someone head first into that ladder too. Right? That was
like notice all these spots are not. They're not like the crazy shit that we would use. These are just like cool moments. Like when it comes to like doing crazy shit off the ladders, like there's so little to say these days because like everyone has set the bar so high, like what people have done over the years in these matches. Right. I think the last time we were probably impressed was with Kalisto and his ladder match because that was cool.
Insane.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember what match that was. I just remember him doing a cool thing.
I think it was at TLC. For the tag titles, I want to say. I
don't even remember what it was. But, I just remember that was awesome.
I know it was TLC, and I think it was a member of the New Day. I think it was Xavier Woods. He did that too. I'm not 100%, or Kofi, might have one or the other. I can't remember. I honestly can't.
I don't remember either. But I remember the spot. I definitely remember that.
That was an amazing spot. But you're right though, Steven. I think that does play a role into why this match wasn't eye-popping at many moments, except when, I gotta be honest, when Kevin Owens went into that ladder back first, that was probably my favorite.
That was definitely cool. Like, there were, it's not that the match was bad, it wasn't bad, it was just like,
right,
it was your average ladder match with some cool stuff in it. Yeah,
and it was definitely cool, and I would definitely say solid stuff, but not too many moments that had me like, wow, you know what I mean? There's been ladder matches in the past which have had 7-8 moments where you're like, oh my god, and I didn't really feel that too much here. And there's a couple moments in this match that kind of reminded me of the Fatal 4-Way Tag match where you could tell they were setting up for a spot and they were trying to like wait for the guy to get there, and like people were late to their spot, and like I especially noticed that when I think it was Del Rio trying to set the ladder up in between the turnbuckle and the ladder that was already standing in the middle, and Sami Zayn was actually pushing the ladder a little bit to make sure that the other ladder could be wedged. And again, it's like little things like that. I'm not being nitpicky. I'm not trying to be like, oh, that takes away from the match. No, not so much. But I think it hurts the pacing of the match. It doesn't like take away from that one moment. I'm not going to like hold them against it and be like -5 points. Like, I'm not somebody who's like overly critical, but I do think that does take away from the pacing, and the pacing obviously is an important thing in a ladder match because you expect some high, and fast action in the beginning. Then things obviously slow down because people have taken some big bumps and everything, and then there's crazy moments and slower. It's kind of just goes up and down and up and down, and I think it kind of failed to do that in the middle moments of this match because you had moments like that where it seemed like guys were just waiting and waiting. Even Ambrose, when he won the briefcase, he kind of like delayed for so long. And I saw Jericho roll. I'm like, oh, tell me Jericho's not going to stop him. I was ready for the match to be done.
I thought Jericho might win because I don't know. I just felt a weird feeling that Jericho might win.
I had that feeling about Del Rio too at a couple of moments.
Del Rio.
Del Rio too.
Speaking of Del Rio, 1 point in favor for this match. That like foot stomp finisher that he does. This marked like the first night out of every single time that he's used that I haven't absolutely hated it. So that was good.
He performed really well in this match. I actually thought Del Rio performed very well here, and that's not something I have to say about Del Rio.
Del Rio's another guy like Sheamus, where like it's hard to say anything bad about him. I mean, he's great, but there's a quality about him that just makes him boring for some reason most of the time.
Yeah, that character.
You want to know what that quality is? WWE's creative team.
Oh,
well, yeah.
Worked in Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
That El Patron, I'm telling you, man.
Whole different guy.
Yeah, and I don't know how it happened, but yeah.
Whole different guy.
Apparently he like left all of his charisma in Lucha Underground. Like I get, how when he went to Lucha Underground, he couldn't use his name. I guess like it was in his contract. When you go back to WWE, like you can't use your charisma there. Like we own the rights to your charisma. So, but I'll give my the MVP of this match. It has to go to Cesaro. Like I'm looking over my list of like spots that I liked, and most of them involve Cesaro. There was one spot where he jumped from the ladder to the ropes and did like a springboard spinning uppercut.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Corkscrew uppercut? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah,
we'll go with that. Sounds good.
I like that Raw when he did it in a full suit too. That was pretty impressive.
I love that.
That's pretty nice. If I do say so myself.
That's a cool suit.
Okay, in the main event of PWF Empire Live tonight, Rusev versus Titus O'Neil singles match for the United States Championship.
Oh my god. Our main event of the evening.
I like the fire that Titus showed after Rusev was taunting his kids.
Me too.
I'm going to make one suggestion, and I don't know why they didn't do this. Like, this had to be a conscious thing. Like, okay, we're not going to do this because it's so easy to, like, just for it to pop in your mind. Why did they not have Titus positioned where he was staring at his kids while he was in the Accolade? Why didn't that happen?
I don't know. I didn't think about that.
Like, on Father's Day, could you imagine Rusev, like, taunting him? I want you to look at your kids in their damn faces and give up right in front of them on Father's Day. Like, what?
That'd be cool.
That's
why didn't that happen?
Right there. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
think they didn't take it seriously enough to think of that.
You see, that's something that you can't be in that situation and not think of it.
Yeah.
Like,
see, I don't know. For me, I think this match was all right. It was harder for me to focus on because the Game 7 of the finals was on, obviously, tonight. And it was like the last minute of the game happening during this match. So my focus was very, back and forth, back and forth. I loved the fire, though, that Titus showed after Rusev taunted the kids. That was probably the best moment of the match. And then when he threw him into the barricade, he really was like you could see the pride of a dad right there. Like it was good
Dad
to see.
of the year right there.
Yeah, dad of the fucking year. And it was good. It was good.
Well, not tonight. I guess you guys to give the title up to somebody else, but
second best dad of the year. I don't know.
I like how Titus's kid like patted Rusev on the shoulder.
Yeah, he tried to like slap him, I think, in the face, and he ended up hitting him in the chest. I was like,
good job, buddy. Good job.
you missed by a little bit, but he was like, yeah. Fuck you, Rusev, and just hit him in the chest instead. And Rusev's like,
also, did Titus kiss his son on the lips?
I think he did. That had me kind of
like
scratching
before
my
the
head.
match. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like on the way to the.
The funny part is, I made the joke after when Rusev went over to the kids. I'm like, oh, Rusev's gonna kiss him on the lips too.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, this was an alright U.S. title match. I like Titus O'Neil in the U.S. title picture because he represents, like, I don't want to say like he represents the USA, but like he represents like American pride. You know what I mean? Like he's a hardworking guy. Good dad. All this stuff. Like he's a hardy American. That's kind of what we're supposed to get out of Titus O'Neil. And so I think him being in the U.S. title picture is definitely fitting here. The feud obviously didn't really, do a whole lot, and this match didn't also do a whole lot.
Well, it's just filler.
It killed some time on the show. That was
we're on
certainly
Rusev
did.
Push 2, the American Push 2, Part 2.
Yeah, and honestly, it wasted enough time that it's actually a negative thing because that made the main event run over by like 20 minutes. So, yeah, it wasn't very good actually in that way because the main event running over by so much, I was like, man, it's because when they were showing the video package for Rollins and Reigns, it was already like 10 of 11, and I'm saying to myself, this is gonna be like really either this match is gonna go for 5 minutes or, which it better not, or it's gonna run over, and it ran over by quite a bit.
I don't mind them running over a little bit because then it makes the match more unpredictable. Because like
True.
like when there's a time limit, okay, well it's getting close to the end, so you might as well end it soon.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, oh, it's 10:50 now, so this thing is about to wrap up.
Yeah, so you don't really have that as much, even though you gotta stay there a bit longer. I don't mind as long as it's not like WrestleMania where it goes over by an hour.
My God.
Oh my God.
That show was like 75 fucking hours long.
Oh my God, man! It was like almost midnight here, and I'm thinking to myself, like, is this really happening? Is it really almost midnight and WrestleMania is still going on, and it started at 7? The biggest waste of time will still always be The Rock. That segment with him taking a fucking flamethrower and just lighting everything on fire.
Anything involving Eric Rowan is a waste of time. So.
Well, no, I was gonna say that part was not a waste of time.
Oh no, see, exactly. No. Him with the flamethrower. Remember, I mentioned that part, not the Rowan part. Because see, the Rowan part was classic. It was a good match. It was 5 stars.
It was 5 stars, and The Rock needed the
5
rub
stars
too.
Out of what, 50?
The Rock needed the rub.
Yeah, exactly. He
Eric Rowan put him over strong.
Back.
I still can't believe that actually happened. Eric Rowan had a fucking match with The Rock at WrestleMania.
I mean, honestly, he can, like, when he retires, probably next week, he can say, hey, you know what? I had a match with The Rock at WrestleMania. And so many other people can't say that. Even The Undertaker can't say he had a singles match with The Rock at WrestleMania. Even The Undertaker.
That is a cool thing you get to say.
Yeah, he's like, I'm better than The Undertaker in that way. Eric Rowan can say that while stroking his beard.
Well, he would never do that, though, because he's very humble.
That's true. He'd put it on over. He'd be like, well, you know what? You know what? I guess I'm not better than Undertaker, but I still got that on him.
Alrighty, guys. Let's go ahead and close this out here. Any final thoughts on Money in the Bank? Was this the greatest Money in the Bank of all time?
No, but it was good. It was a good show. There was too many boring matches in a row. Those 3 matches really took me out of it for a bit.
Yeah, nothing's gonna beat Money in the Bank 2011. I mean, something could, but this year's did not. I think it had the potential to beat Money in the Bank 2011. It had a great card. Styles and Cena was very good. Main event was fantastic. Money in the Bank ladder match I enjoyed. But the rest of it, you know, like you said, Steven, too many boring matches. I think the order of the matches hurt it. Because you could get away with having that many not-so-great matches if you spread out the good matches a little better. And they didn't do that. They had one good match, another good match, and then the U.S. title, and then the main event. So you should have had those 3 really solid matches dispersed a little more. And not only that, but the Fatal 4-Way Tag match, which was a match I was expecting to be very good, did not live up to its hype at all. So I think that also hurt things tonight. So it had the potential to be the best Money in the Bank ever, but I think WWE shot themselves in the foot by setting our expectations a little higher than they should have been set by saying that before the pay-per-view goes on air. Yeah, so it wasn't a bad night. It was all right. It was a decent pay-per-view. Like I said, the big matches that needed to deliver did deliver, but I still have like my complaint, at least with AJ and Cena. So a decent night. A decent night.
All right, Steven, anything?
Ambrose is good. Vote Trump 2016.
And it just gets worse. Why don't you go ahead and throw in another CM Punk reference?
Oh, yeah. Well, Punk's UFC fight is coming up soon, so.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, we'll see how he does.
I saw his opponent on Twitter saying something like somebody asked him something about Punk and what is he going to do to him in the 3rd round, and he was like, it's not going to make it to round 3.
Oh.
Yeah, that fight is coming up, man. You know, if Punk gets beat up, I'll buy it after. But
you don't have any problems with Punk, huh? No problems. You just want to see him get beat up in real life, not even in a wrestling match, in a real UFC match. You want to see him get beat up.
You're saying real life like I'm paying somebody to whoop his ass on the street or something like this. It's in a sanctioned fight that he signed up for.
Yeah, but you're thrilled to see him get hurt. This is what you're saying.
I didn't say I wanted him to get hurt. I just want to see him like get beat up.
You're gonna if you get beat up, that kind of involves getting hurt. I don't know.
He's okay. He can bounce back, right?
Okay.
You know, he lived through Ryback. This will be good. Yeah. Alrighty, guys, that's it for PWF Empire Live tonight. We'll be back on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Until then, we'll catch you later. Peace.